So my Rotary journey started, I think it was the year 2000, but I can't remember, a millennium milestone, when I was putting up chairs after a function, which actually turned out to be a Rotary Youth Speaks function, which was taking place here locally at St Mary's School, where I was teaching. I had nothing better to do. I was putting up chairs, and there I met a charming young man who was also putting up chairs. Fast forward the video, and we're at the Chalfonts Community College. Rotary Youth Speaks. I'm putting up the chairs. The same gentleman is putting up the chairs. Banter starts as to there are those in life who are destined to be chair putter-upperers. This young man was Tony, who has been our host today, or one of our major hosts today, along with Christine, who was the other, perhaps most driving force behind this. Incidentally, part of my Rotary journey was to be dropped from the committee for this event because I'm not very good at committees. I'm definitely a bit of a sort of outside maverick. Anyway, next, Tony and I said, well, I know I've met you somewhere before, and neither of us could quite place it. But then we met again when I went to see Tony in an official capacity. I actually went to see Marcus, who's sitting over there, but he wasn't available, so I got Tony. But it proved to be, for many, many reasons, a very fortuitous meeting. Tony was acting for me professionally, and he then said, how do you fancy doing, oh, what was it called? Moonraker, isn't it? Moonraker, that midnight hike. Hands up anyone who's been on Moonraker. Yes. And survived, yeah. We nearly didn't. My father, because the reason Tony was acting for me was due to a divorce, he was ringing up to check on me because he'd been ringing all evening to say, are you all right? Are you all right? Finally got through to me at something like 1:30, beside himself with worry. I said, are you all right, Karin? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm walking through a moonlit field with 5 men. I won't tell you everything that went on that walk, but suffice it to say there were an awful lot of kissing gates, and suffice it to say that we got back after the breakfasts were finished being served. We were just about disqualified. The next thing that happened was basically a fun run, where once again I was approached. I was on the common. I can't remember what I was doing on the common, probably for the church, because I'm very involved with St James. And I was approached again. I don't know why also I was wearing fishnet tights, but that also is part of the course. And Tony approached me and said, can you run? And I said, yeah, but but I have got my trainers in the car. And I found myself doing the 3 kilometre, was it 5 kilometre fun run, dressed like that. That was another introduction to Rotary. But where it was clinched that it was Rotary was when Tony came round to help me, because he's an immensely practical chap. And I wanted him to look at my caravan, which I wasn't awfully happy about because I didn't know if I could tow it. And he's sniggering at the side because he's basically went, poke, and his finger went right through the upper body, the carcass. And he said, but you've got a lovely chassis. And I said, cut the compliments, Tony. We're talking about my caravan. He said, yeah, you've got a lovely chassis. And so that wheel that was up on the picture, I was thinking, that's my chassis, that's my chassis. Because they came around, group of thugs, all these Rotarians sit here looking so respectable. Some of them even got ties this morning. They're a bunch of lunatic thugs at heart, and they let it out that one day when they came round and literally smashed the superstructure at the end of my garden. I was picking up shards of glass and bits of metal for literally months afterwards. But it wasn't all in vain, because more came out of it than just a chassis. Because one of the thugs, and this will surprise some of you who knew him, was Tony Robinson. Now, Tony Robinson is the most conservative, perfect gentleman you could ever want to have in Britain. He could represent Britain as Mr. UK. But I met him, and fast forward in the video again, we actually married in 2008. And Tony was, he was a founder member too of Miss Vaughan Matins, very, very devoted to Miss Vaughan Matins, gave a great deal of time, and probably his main claim to fame, other than organising the float at Christmas, and getting that sort of licked into shape. He was a great one for licking things into shape. Wherever he went, organisation followed him. But probably his main claim to fame was that he started our, what's the word I want, like partnership with the people in Nepal, and with the Nepal Trust. And in that capacity, he hiked with Karin, who's here today. Where's Karin? Are you in the room? She just handed the Rotary objects. That was Karin, Elas Dahan. And they both hiked up through Nepal to a remote village and installed a micro hydro plant up there. I don't think Tony, and Harry was doing that too. I think Harry's gone, hasn't he, Karen's husband. I don't think Tony was doing much of the actual engineering works, but he was absolute dab hand at negotiating and loved actually doing these physical things as well. Very sadly, he passed away in 2012. He did everything in style, did our Tony, and he actually had 3 brain tumours, not 1, not 2, but 3. Meanwhile, I was back at the ranch being, as ever, a Rotary groupie, always being prepared to song, dance, dress up, whatever. That's the bit, sort of bits I can do. What I can't do is organise things, which is why I think they dropped me from the committee for today. That apart, so I had a new role. I was approached by Rotary, would I actually join them? And I thought, that is a challenge. Can I actually be 2 major challenges? Can I be sensible and grown up enough to behave myself? No. Can I get up regularly that early? I am an owl by nature. I will do it. I will do it for Tony. Both Tonys really, because it was Tony who introduced me to Rotary, but also for Tony, my husband. So I thought, yeah, I was asked as his widow, would I join? So I thought, yes, I will. And I've struggled. I've struggled to get up early in the morning, but my struggles have been compensated for by a bit like Paul said, the things I have found myself involved in. And it's not just the donning of the Pudsey outfit, which fortuitously allows you to lose pounds in days. I do recommend it, any of you who are trying to battle with your weight. But donning the Pudsey outfit, all sorts of weird and wonderful experiences, but most of all, this feeling, as I say to all my lunatic fringe friends who can't believe I'm a Rotarian, you have to understand what Rotary is about. It is just the most fantastic organisation, and the motto, service before self, says it all. So that just about brings us up to date, but I have got a new identity within the club, and that is that now with our Christmas collections, I'm afraid the fishnet tights are gone, and with the wrinkles has come dressing up as a Christmas elf. So if you see me incognito or doing Morris dancing on the Gerrards Cross open evening dressed as an elf, do come and make yourself known to me, and we'll have a handshake or whatever it is those Rotarians do. Thank you.